So last class we had some issues with these Excel files. Probably it was because of the network issues, or not even many were there. So let us reiterate through that. So let us see how do we automate this Excel part, right? So how do we? Okay. Yep. So please go ahead. So we have seen all other types of automations, but now today let's go ahead and see about this Excel automation, which is kind of really important with respect to this UiPath, because we have most of the processes including this Excel file, and even if they do not include, we need to have that. Okay, so let's go ahead and see. So let me say you have an Excel file here. So similar to how you extract information from any website or anywhere, you will not be able to extract such information from your Excel. So for example, you have this say second column, which is your beat column, and second row. So you have this Akhil, right? So if you want to extract this data from this field, you cannot do it directly. Like what do I mean by directly? So generally in our, so let me say in our any website. So let us open our, sorry, not this. So just in case if you have my Internet Explorer, or yeah, probably we are in this page, it's fine. And if you want to extract any information from your page, so let me say from this field, what do? We directly use either get text or select text or any of that stuff, right? You cannot do the same thing on an Excel. So you will have issues. So let us see what are the issues that will face. So let me minimize the, okay. So we can use get text. This is what we usually use, right, to extract an information. So we will have to create a variable which is of type string. Do we have any? Nope. Okay, let us create one. Say str and string, okay. And the value that we extract from this goes into my string. Okay, so now let me indicate on screen. I will want to select this special Akhil, right? So this first second column, second row, probably I want to select this. But if you see, when I take my cursor onto any of the other fields, I'm able to highlight those fields, right? I'm able to do that. But once I come into the pane where we have data, it is not able to identify individual icons. Instead, it treats this complete thing as a single thing, correct? So what can you do? So even though if I force it to click here, then it will extract some information. And now let us see what does it do. So did it also, though I have placed my cursor exactly on that Akhil and then try to extract information. So let us see what data is it able to extract. So now when I run this, it says some random value, which is book one. Is that the information in that cell? No, it is not. So it is not possible directly to extract information using our on-screen elements or our regular activities. So it is, so this book one is basically the name of the file that it is able to extract, but not any of these fields. Okay, still running. No, why is it? Let me stop this anyways. Okay, so this is one problem that you'll face, where you will not be able to extract any information from the Excel using your regular activities. So what do? We have some special or specific activities with respect to your Excel. So how do you get them? Let us use this message box. So firstly, when you, I would suggest you to type Excel in your activities pane. Probably you should see a list of activities that will come up like this. If you're not sure of, if you're not getting any of these, then in that case you have to go to your package manager. So what is your package manager? It is on the, in this exact place where I'm just placing my cursor. It is above to your activity search field. So you have something like a box that is open. So you click that, and then you will have this thing open. So this is the package manager where you have all the packages that you will need. So you'll have to go into your available, and then okay, so going to all should actually show you all the available packages. It doesn't show. Okay. Oh, this is still loading. It is not yet loaded. So click on your available, and then you will see all the list of packages that are available, which you are not in your system but are available to download. So if you see, you will have things like this. So from this, you will have to select Excel. So how do you do that? You just type in Excel. Because it is already installed in my system, it will not be available in all. Even if it is available, you will have a tick mark next to it. So probably if you don't see that, so you will find something like this. So UiPath.excel.activities is something that you should be looking for. Okay, so if it is not installed, you'll have options like this. When you click on any of this, that you will be able to download that. Once it is downloaded and installed, you'll have this tick mark. So once you have this UiPath.excel activities installed, you can directly go into your search bar and give Excel. So this would give you a bunch of options from where you can use or automate all of your Excel activities, right? So now let me say I just want to read that one specific cell, say my B2, correct? I want to extract information available in this B2. It is very simple doing this. So all you have to do is, so anything that you want to do, first thing you have to import your Excel application scope. So this Excel application scope is like a field or kind of range, or what do I say, or is it like okay, so just consider any activities that you put inside this Excel application scope will be implemented or applied within this Excel. So let me say I want, so here you all you have to do is give your Excel file name. Okay, so it says workbook path. So let us give the complete path. You click on this, you get an option to open all of this. So go to your desktop. So that is on my desktop. So I click that, select my book one, give an open. So then you, or the complete address for the, or the physical location of that file on your system is loaded here. So once you have this, so any activity that you put inside this is going to implemented within this Excel. All right. So that is the advantage of this Excel application scope, or that is the purpose of this Excel application scope, right? And now, so let me say I want to get information from that specific cell. So when I drag and drop this read cell, so you will have this option of, which will have an option telling what is the sheet name and what is the cell value, or the cell what do you say, cell number, right? So every cell in this Excel is denoted by the row and column of that. So now let me say we want to extract information from B2, correct? So B2 is our name of the person. So this is that, and then I'm going to save the output inside my string variable, and that is what is I'm displaying out. So this is the way that you have to deal with Excels in any time if you are dealing with any Excel file on your system and through UiPath. Okay, so you have to import this Excel application scope, and from that use the specific activity which is necessary for you to do any action in that Excel. So there are a bunch of options, so we'll see that later. First, let us try to extract information from that. So let me run this. If you say this is the name of the value that sort, or this is the value that is available in that field, correct? So let us try to do for other cells. So let me say I don't know in what is there in B3, sorry, yes, B3 and B4. So let me try with B3. So this should give me the name that is available in the field in the cell B3. Okay, so this is the name that is available in the B3 field. So let us go ahead and see if that is the name. Probably it should be. Yes, right? So now this is how you extract information from each of these cells. So now let us see how do you read the complete range. So basically one advantage or the disadvantage with this is, if you are not sure about what is the exact range of the cell of the Excel value. So let me say I have just an Excel file which might increase in rows. So let me say in this 5 columns, in this 4 columns now, people keep adding number of students. So today it's going to be 8 and tomorrow it's going to be like 20, and if it's a new year or a new academic year starting, something like this period, then it might go to 40 and 50, right? So it is not sure about how many rows that I'll have. So there are few cases in which you can extract information of the complete range, only that is used. So basically if I say just get the entire range, then it would go to the highest number of columns that is there, probably to yes, and then to the last row value, which usually is something around like 20,000 or 30,000 by default in an Excel. So it would go and extract all that cells though they are empty. But I do not want that. I only want to extract the cells that are filled or are used. Correct. So for that, all you have to do is import your read range. So this is this activity that extracts all the information from your Excel. So you will just have to specify the sheet name. And let me say for now, I know the range is from A1 to D9, sorry, D8, right? So when I know this, I can simply do that. So I'll tell the range is from A1 to D8. So this would extract, this would extract all the cell values starting from A1 to D8. But this read range is kind of it takes in so many cells, right? So what will it output? So it cannot output a single string because all these are not a single value. So they are multiple values split in terms of rows and columns. So which data type does that? It's a data table, right? So data tables are similar to what exactly is available in our Excel. So that also has rows and columns. So the output variable, whatever it emits or it ejects from this read range, is always your data table. So let us see how do we create a data table. Okay, we have already done it here. Okay, so let us create it again. So probably it is very simple. All you have to do is select for that type of data table in your list or in your data types. Okay, so let me say data table, right? And then in this variable type, go and select for data table. So where do you get it? Browse for types and then type in data table. So system.data data table is the first one that we will look for. Correct. So this is the type data table. So I select that. So now I have created a variable of type data table and I will pass that on here. Okay. So now we have created a data variable of type data table and passed it across. But how do I show the information to the user? I cannot, probably this will not allow me to give a data table here. Okay, the range was a problem there. It is not available outside that. Okay, so change the scope to Excel demo. Yep. And now if you see, that is a data table, I cannot convert it to string. Even if I do, probably it will not be of the use that the advantage of having values in terms of your Excel is lost, right? Because you have nicely ordered data in terms of your rows and Excels, but that is lost probably when you convert it to string. I have never converted a data table to string and displayed. Probably let us see what it gives out. Okay, so this is how it displays. It is not displaying anything. So the problem is you cannot convert a data table directly to string. So now how do I tell what is the information that is available in my data table, or is my data table really populated with all the information that is there in my Excel? How do I do it? So for that, probably all I can do is I can count for rows, number of rows that are available. Rows dot count dot toString. So this is a small trick that we are doing. So what are we doing? We are taking this data table and taking the rows of that. So how do you take the all rows? Data table dot rows, and then you want to count all of them. So for that you can do dot count and then convert it to string. Okay, so this is how you extract the number of rows that are available from your data table. So how many are there exactly are actually in our Excel? There are totally 8 rows, right? Okay. So let us run our code. So it should give me 8. Oh, it gives me 7. Why? There actually are 8 rows, right? So let's go back and see. So there are 8 rows, but it still gives me 7. It is because it is considering your first row as headers. It might or might not be the case. So just think. So basically, currently here it is headers, but what if in case there is no headers, or you want this headers also to be included and given you as a list, or consider that as a valid row. So for that, all you have to do is just go to your read range and in your properties, remove these add headers. When you say these add headers, the values of the first row are treated as headers and not as data. And that is why it is showing there are only 7 rows. So now let us remove this and see. So now when you run this, it will give you complete column values, row values as 8. Good, it is given 8. Okay, so that is how you extract a complete range of values. So now let us see columns. Probably we should not have these columns for a problem with the headers because it does not count that as a header of the first column. So how do you do that? You take columns dot count, sorry, dot count dot toString. So this is how you collect all the columns, count them, and convert that back to string, and then show the user. So let us run this. So this should give us 4. So there are 4 columns. That is what it says. So now I want to see the data available in the table, not just the count or any of this stuff. Correct? So how do you do that? So to do that, there is something called for each row. This is very specific to data tables, just as how we have our for each in terms of your collection or iterables. So similarly, you have this for each row. So here it will iterate through each and every row from a data table. So let me create this data table. So this is the data table that we have seen. So now let me comment this for a while and let us see. Okay, and now in this each row, I want to go to row dot item at, let me say, second column and convert that to string. So what am I doing here? So basically this for each row iterates through every row available in your data table. In your data table, in each and every row, you're going to the item 2. So what is this item? So row has so each row, if you see, has multiple columns, correct? So there are 4 columns. That is, so each row will have 4 columns. So all the values in that column are separated by their index values. So this is my first row. Sorry, in this row, this is my column 1, column 2, column 3, and column 4. So if I say row dot item with a number 2, that is it goes and extracts value from your second column. So this is the second item value each and every row will contain. So now that I've given row value as 2 or item value as 2, I should get this all the values available in this column displayed to me, right? So let us try run that. So this is essentially the name. So now let us run this. Okay, why is it going to age 15? Okay, probably this indexing is from 0. Okay, let me give 1. Just because it is treating the first value from 0, not from 1, it has given out the age. So now if you see, this is the second column that it is picking up, and it says the first row value. So the value in the first row at second column is 2. Now it is second row and second column. It's Akhil. So if you go and say, it'll be all the names from that field or that from that column, right? So this is the second name, and then third, fourth, fifth, and this is the last one, right? So if you see, it has iterated exactly to the number of columns that or values that are there. So let me add one more name here. So let me say Zishan. Okay. So I just save this. So now I should get one more value printed out. So this is just to tell that it is dynamically picking up the number of rows that is used. So it is not fixed. 2, 3, 4. So the last one should be, oh, we didn't get that. Okay, so if you see here, we have specifically mentioned to extract values only till D8. So now I don't know, so it's just as how we have seen, I don't know what exactly is going to be the number of rows. So I'm not sure how many rows will be there. So in that case, I'll just leave this field empty. So I'll not give in any initialization or start and end values. I'll just leave that empty, and now I should get all the values that are there. Okay, so this is your first, second, and probably you should get your last one also. Yes, so we got it. So if you want to extract information which is not, if you're not sure of the number of rows or the value is data is going to be dynamic, in that case you will just use this read range without any limits. So this is one advantage of your read range. And just as how you're doing this, you can also read your single column and single row. But reading the data table as whole is really very helpful. Okay, so now let us go ahead and see the similar thing for okay, what else is left in this? Okay, so now let me say you have two sheets and same data but smaller ones, right? So usually you will have different values or different data in your different sheets, correct? So sheet 1 and sheet 2. How do you switch between sheet 1 and sheet 2? So you will just have to change the sheet name from sheet 1 to sheet 2. So it is very simple. So you just change from sheet 1 to sheet 2. So this will extract information only from sheet 2. Okay, so we should get a few names this time. Yes, so because this is the data that is extracted from sheet 2. Okay, so we have seen how do we extract information from sheet 1 and then, sorry, complete a range and this thing. And once you have all your information on your data table, so you can do a bunch of operations or all sort of operations that you do on a regular data table, like you're deleting values or deleting column and then adding values and all that stuff. So what is the advantage of adding headers here? So we are not adding headers here, correct? So now what is the advantage of adding headers? So let us see that. So now let me say I add header. So I'm not adding headers in the current case. Now I'm pretty sure that my names are going to be in column 2 only, correct? So let me say I have something like name of the student is Okay. So if I have something like this, so let me say I want to extract all the names from the Excel and then feed it into some database. So instead of showing here the name is, I'll just extract and put it there. So now my question is, what if my name is not going to come in this second column? So it might be in the fifth column or sixth column. In that case, how will we handle that? So currently, if you see, it is completely dependent on the index. So now if I, now this is one, that is, it is looking at second column. So now that it is in second column, we will not have a problem. So now it gives name of the student is Akhil. So these are all the names of the students, correct? So now let me say there is one more field which has come in and people have changed it from column one, or they have included one more column in between and then said, so they have included one more column and said, what else could be there? Say blood group. Okay. So they say it's O positive, O negative, B positive, B positive, positive, A negative, B positive, and B positive. Okay, so they have just added this one more column saying blood groups, and now the column value has changed from row 2 to row 3 here actually. So how will I handle these disparities or dynamic variations in the data? So if I run the same piece of code now, probably you should know that you will not get names anymore. We have did changes in sheet 1, right? So I have to change this to sheet 1 here. So now if I run the same piece of code, then probably it would look really worse because it says the name of the field is, name of the student is with the serial number probably. So it says yes. So if you see name of the student is 2, 3, 4, it only gives you serial number. Does not make sense. Correct. So now how do you manage that? So for that, adding headers is really important and it will help. So you have these add headers. So now in this case, all the columns are linked with their header names. So that is the reason we have these add headers checked by default. So now here I need not index the value directly. Instead, I'll just give the name of the column. So let me say the name, right? So the column name is actually name, right? Name of the students. It is given as name. Is it? Yes. So the column name is name, or let me change it to student name, right? So this is the column name now. So this, all the values of in this column are linked with this header. So let me also change that here. So now I'm just giving the student the header name and not the index. So now if I run this, it will directly give me starting from the name excluding the header, right? So now I'm not told where exactly is that column located. So it just gives me the name. So let us change the field now or the order. So now we have bought that first column or third column to my first place, right? So it was here earlier. Now I've changed it to first thing. So now I will not have to do any change to my code. Instead, when I just run that, so I need not go and change the index every time the order changes. So simply I'll just run this code. We'll go and look for that specific column and print out all the values available in that. If you say it works, right? So it is not dependent on the index, rather it is dependent on the header name. And now, so let us go ahead and see what more do we have. So yes, so this is also important. So let me say I have this specific need of, okay, so now let me say I just want to do some calculation of say height versus age, or maybe, okay, or let me say mm, so I just want to apply a formula. So give me any ideas where I can do that. Okay, so let's say last year height. So let us just reduce a little of this. 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 8, 1, 0, 0. This guy grown so much. 0, 9, no growth, no growth. Okay, so now here I want to say height increased. And here I'll just write a formula that is going to add up two columns. Right? So similarly, I just want to apply it for my complete cells. So now I have a formula which is going to populate all these fields. So let me say I just want to extract this formula, not the value in the cell. Right? So extracting value is very simple, just as how we are doing it. You can simply use a read cell and that is going to give you the value. But instead, if you want to read the formula, so we'll see the difference between both. So let me disable this and even this. So we'll see the difference between these two. So we have a read cell and read cell formula. So here let me send value just here. Formula, right? So read cell is going to have my str and this is going to have my Excel cell formula. So what was the field? It was F2. So I'm giving the same cell to both of this activity. So you have one as read cell and the other one as read cell formula. The value of this cell is right. So now we are using one read cell and read cell formula and both of the values are displayed. So let us see. Okay, there was some problem. Read cell convert. Okay. Yeah, and then my F2. What exactly is the problem? Oh man, okay. Since we have a formula there, the value present in those fields are not considered as string. Instead, they are considered as double values, as in floating pointers. So let us say double and then select double type system dot double. and okay, change the scope, then pass it on here. Excuse me. Right, so you have that. So here you have to convert that back to string for display. Okay, so let us run this. So it says the value of this cell. So this is going to be the value which we have used as read cell, and this is should be the formula. Okay, where is the formula? The formula cell is okay. So didn't we pass the argument? Okay, it says Excel formula. Oh man, sorry, I have to change this. So it says Excel cell formula. Yeah, I haven't provided the correct variable. So this is the value of the cell, and this is the formula. So it is really simple that we have all these activities that have come up now. Earlier we did not have these activities this straightforward. We had to do a lot of hacks and tricks to get these things on page, but now they are very simple. You can just drag in these activities and they'll be of great help. So similarly, you can extract your color and set color to the your Excel files, and then you can select a specific range. And similar to your read range, you have this write range. So for example, if I want to write the same data table to another sheet or maybe another Excel, so in that case, I can just use this write range and then give my data table. So I give my data table and then it is going to write. So let me say I'll create a sheet 3. Okay, and I'll add headers. So this is going to write all my data that is available in my data table into this specific sheet, which is in the same thing but in a different sheet, right? And then if you want to write a single cell, so you can do this. You can just write that single cell using this write cell. And we'll see this invoke VBA and execute macro in the next class because they are pretty important and might take some time. So are people aware of VBA scripting here and macros? So anyone here have worked with macros or written macros before? Okay, if not, then probably these macros are something that most of the people will use in an Excel. So it is like your C sharp. It is actually VB.NET where you have formulas and basically all your pivot tables and that you do, and also you can basically most of these shopping. So basically, just consider going into any more or Reliance Fresh. Most probably the billing system that we usually see are probably written in your VBA, that is in your Excel. So that this was the first programming language that was publicly available and was famous, which is VBA. So if you're not aware, so let me just show you what exactly is that. So even I am not a big VBA scripting master, but I just had to learn a few to complete a few projects. So to write that, you will need to have your developer field, which is not there here. So to enable VBS, first thing you have to go to your options and then go to customize ribbon, select your developer. Okay, so once you click on this, this will be unchecked by default. So you have to go to your file first and then Excel options and then click on this customize ribbon, select this developer, click on OK. So this will give you this field of developer. So once you click on this developer, you will see this Visual Basic macros, record macro, and all this stuff. So these macros, once you click on this, it will ask for a name. So let me say I want to create a sample macro, create, and this is going to be the function. So these are pretty simple. So you get almost anything on Google with respect to these VBA codes. So let me say currently I have this small subsample. So, okay. So the sample name is sample. Sorry, the project, the what do we call, the VBA code is named as sample here. So how can you see? Once you click on this macros, you'll be able to see this. So any code that you run here will be you will have to run from using this run, right? So you can actually, so basically most of these accounting websites or bank websites have all of their formulas and this scripts written in your Excel inside your macros. Okay, so the problem is they just want you to run that macro from your Excel without touching it, right? Because they do not want us to rewrite the complete code. Instead, use the existing macros. So for that, all you have to do is you have something called invoke macro. So once you do that, it's going to execute macro. So this also is valid only inside your Excel application scope. So if you put this outside, it won't work. So let me say currently my code is, my name of the VBA is sample. So once I give this name, this will go and trigger that specific macro available inside your Excel file. So it will go and select the sample and it will by default give this run. Any questions? Any doubts so far? Probably we are mostly covered with Excel. Okay, okay, cool then. Yeah. So let's meet up tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye bye.